All right, so sealed bids is by far the most complicated method to go through. So please take notes on this so that you can, you super are not going to be. Because I was going through this over the weekend and like, this is by far the most complex method of this. So please take notes on this. Steven, please take notes. Oh, or just put your head down. Sure, it's a viable option too. What? This is the end of last weekend's notes here, or last week's notes. So like sealed bids, this is the beginning of today's notes. Okay. So I'm going to show you the steps. I'm going to go through an example with you, and I'll go through part of the assignment with you guys. It is by far the most complicated, but I'm going to try to make it as simple as I possibly can. All right. So sealed bids is like when you absolutely cannot come to an agreement on anything, and it's something that can't be split up. So like with what we were talking about before, like if it was land that you could split up into discrete parcels, like where you could take this big piece of land and split it up into different pieces, and then each person could get a piece of the land. That can't always happen. So like what if you're splitting up a car collection, where it's not like you can just take a buzzsaw and split up cars and do like, you're gonna get this piece of the car, and you're gonna get this piece of the car. So like what if you're gonna split up, like you've got 4 cars, but you've got like 8 kids who are trying to decide who gets which car and how to split those up fairly, right? Yeah, or there's this method called sealed bids.
Or you just do carpool.
Or you could do carpool. Sure. Okay.
Run over for the
All right. So I'm going to write down the steps for this. We're going to go through each of the steps and using an example. So first, step number 1. So each person writes down how much they think each thing is worth. How much they think each thing is worth. And then they seal the bid. Then seal the bid. So nobody else can see. Which is why this is called sealed bids. Step number 2. The bids are collected. For each person, the value is totaled. The value is totaled. And divided by the number of people to get the fair share. To get the fair share. Okay. Step number 3. Each item goes to the highest bidder. So far, it's not too bad. Goes to the highest bidder. This is where it gets complicated. There's this pool that gets set up based on, to make it fair, because like if you have, like say you've got you and your sister, or you are, say, not even that, like say like you've got 3 brothers and sisters, and the 2 of you are trying to split up 2 cars, or the 4 of you are trying to split up 2 cars that your parents had. Only 2 of you are going to get those cars. The other 2 are going to feel like they're being cast off. They're going to feel like they're missing out on something, right? And so in order for them not to feel like they're missing out, the people who get, you what? Yeah. So like in this method of splitting stuff up, the people who get something are going to have to pay in to a pot, and then the money that they pay into a pot is going to get paid out to people who didn't get something. And so
That's not always fair. It's like reverse poker.
Kind of like reverse poker, sure. All right, so the value of items received is totaled. The value of items received is totaled. Is totaled. If more than the fair share,
What's that first word for number 2? For each?
For each, yeah. I kind of smooshed them together. Then the fair share. That person has to pay. If less,
I have a question. Is that total,
total. Yeah, my writing isn't perfect. This is
Oh,
total.
that's alright. I got the glare on it, so it's...
Yeah, sorry. If less, that person gets money. From the pool. If money left over. Jeez. I cannot write today. If money left over. Divide evenly. Alright. So, like I said, by far this is the most complicated method we've talked about so far. And I'm going to try to explain it as best I can. And then we're going to go over part of the assignment together. At least part of the assignment, if not the whole thing. Alright? So, let's say that we have 3 people. So we've got, who haven't I used as an example in a while? We got Trevor. We got Rebecca. And then we got Gus, who are inheriting from an uncle that they didn't know they had, and that uncle didn't leave behind a will. Okay?
Caitlin White, please report to the office. Caitlin White, with your paperwork. Caitlin White, please report to the office with your paperwork.
Yeah, so if money, so like, yeah, for some reason I started spelling money and I spelled it M-O-Y because it's Monday and I've lost my mind.
I completely understand.
Well, you know what I mean. It is a Tuesday that acts like a Monday. It is a Moose Day. Or a Ton Day, if you will. Sure, it's a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. Okay, so Trevor, Rebecca, and Gus are inheriting stuff from an uncle that they didn't know they had in Abu Dhabi. Sure, Abu Dhabi. It's from the United Arab Emirates. And this uncle in Abu Dhabi is leaving them 3 things. He didn't have a will, so they're going to use a method of sealed bids to spread out the 3 things. He's leaving them a house. Sure, a goat. He's leaving them a house. He's leaving them a vacation home in Dubai, and he's leaving them a thriving business. And he's leaving them a thriving business of I don't know, trading
Goats.
Sure, trading goats. A thriving goat trading business. And they each get to bid how much they think each of them is worth. So Trevor, he thinks the house is worth $250,000. He thinks the vacation home is worth $170,000. And he thinks the business is worth $300,000 because he thinks goats are awesome. All right, so he writes these numbers on a piece of paper, he seals it up, and he sends it away to the lawyer who contacted him about this rich uncle from Abu Dhabi. Rebecca, she thinks the house is worth $300,000. She thinks the vacation home is worth $180,000. And she thinks the business is worth $255,000. She writes these on a piece of paper, she seals them up, and she sends them away to the lawyer in Abu Dhabi. Gus thinks the house is worth $280,000. He thinks the vacation home is worth $200,000. And he thinks the business is worth $270,000. Seals these up on a piece of paper, sends them away to the lawyer in Abu Dhabi. Now the lawyer has to decide what's going to happen from here on out. So, first of all, we need to total up how much each person thinks all of these three things together are worth, and then find out what their fair share is going to be of these three things. Now, there's all kinds of other complex things that would come in like a real life situation, like there's taxes. So if you're inheriting something, you're going to have to pay taxes on it. So like, even if you win something, so like all those people who win things from like The Price is Right, if you win the Showcase Showdown, you have to pay taxes on it, and the taxes that you have to pay on it is probably going to be very, very expensive.
So if you were like $400, you'd be getting $200.
Probably, yeah. The taxes on anything that you win from a game show are usually about 40% of your winnings.
I feel like if I went on there, I would win like a Go Cup or like a treadmill or something stupid that I never use.
And you have to pay taxes on your winnings.
You have to pay taxes on something?
Yeah, so like do you guys, there was a time in 2004 when Oprah gave away a car to everybody in her audience. The taxes on the car ended up being something like $5,000. So like, can you imagine going to go see an episode of Oprah and then walking away with something you had to pay $5,000 on unexpectedly?
But then at the same time, I would have been okay because it's $5,000 for a car.
Right, because it's a car, I know.
Why'd she do that?
Because she wanted to give everybody a car and she didn't think it through. The taxes on it though.
Yeah,
Right.
but you can be mad, like a brand new car, right?
No, I know, but like, so some people weren't mad about it. Other people were like, I wasn't expecting to pay $5,000 today,
Come
Oprah.
here getting $5,000 for your shitty Subaru sitting outside, so.
Okay. All right. So let's go through and let's figure out how much each of these people think that the whole thing is worth, and let's find out what their share is. So Trevor thinks the whole thing, so 250 plus 170 plus 300. Trevor thinks the whole thing is worth 720. So if we divide by 3, his fair share is 240 for his share. You guys with me on how I got that?
No.
All right, so I added these up, and I got 720
You just got the average of it, you divided,
divided by 3, and I got 240.
so just the average of them?
It's the average, so I divided by how many people there are.
Okay.
So if there were 4 people, I divide by 4.
Okay, alright, I understand
Now for Rebecca, I'm going to do 300 plus 180 plus 255, and then I'm going to divide by 3 because that's how many people there are. It's not how many items, it's how many people. So Rebecca thinks her fair share is 245. So Rebecca's fair share is different than Trevor's fair share because she values these items differently. And then Gus's fair share is 280 plus 200 plus 270 divided by 3. So 250. So Gus's fair share is different than either Trevor or Rebecca's because he values the items differently. Kind of, sort of?
Yeah.
All right. So now, that's step 1 and that's step 2. Step 3, each item goes to the highest bidder. So who's the highest bidder on the house?
Me.
Rebecca is the highest bidder on the house. So
Oh, okay. Oh, no.
Rebecca gets the house. Who's the highest bidder on the vacation home? Gus is the highest bidder on the vacation home. And who's the highest bidder on the business? Trevor. So Trevor gets the business. All right. So now let's take a look and see how much they got versus how much they should have got, what their fair share is. So Trevor got something that's worth $300,000, and his fair share is $240,000. So did he get more than his fair share? How much more? So Trevor needs to pay in the difference. So he needs to pay in $60,000 to cover that difference. Rebecca got something that she thinks is worth $300,000. Her fair share is $245,000. She needs to pay in $55,000. Assuming she's got that just like rattling around in her sock drawer.
Same.
Now Gus got something that's worth $200,000. His fair share is $50,000. Does he need to pay anything in?
So I get an extra 50?
So Gus gets $50,000. Because his fair share was $250,000, he only got something worth $200,000. He needs to get $50,000 more to cover his fair share.
Man, I'm so glad he kicked the bucket.
So right now, in the pool, these two have paid this much into the pool. So 60 plus 55,000 was paid into the pool. So let's find out how much that is. So 60.
This is too complicated.
I know it's complicated. 60 plus 55 is 115,000. Now, when I take Gus's 50,000 out of the pool, how much is left in there? So I'm going to minus 50 out. So I got 65,000 left in the pool. Now, if there's money left over in the pool, I divide it evenly amongst these three.
So it'd be 32,500.
So I'm going to do 65 divided by 3. So 21.
And then the
So they're each going to get 21.67 thousand, 21.67, 21.67. So, in the end, Trevor gets a business. He pays in 60 but gets 21.67 back. So he pays in 60 but gets this much back as a refund. Rebecca gets a house. She pays in 55 but gets this much back. Gus pays in or gets a vacation home and then gets 50 and then another 21,000. Kind of, sort of? All right. So I know this is complicated. We're going to go over the assignment together. I was going over this over the weekend, and I was like, these guys are going to hate this so much.
It's not that bad. I'm sure you
He said it wasn't that bad. I almost made it now. I almost
It
made
did
it.
not make your brain bitch on fire.
We can't have like 3 butter cycles. This isn't even that.
So we got 4 heirs who need to divide an estate consisting of 2 items: a house in the city, a ranch in the county. So the 4 heirs are Sean, Paul, Diddy, and Combs. All right. So we got Sean, Paul, Diddy, and Combs. Nobody else? Nobody catches that?
What would you say?
Great. Okay.
What would you say? Sean and Paul?
I'm just amusing myself here.
Yeah, it's Pitbull.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that
no.
right?
No.
In his song, he starts screaming Sean Paul.
It's okay. It's okay, Mr. Taft. It's okay.
All
All
right.
right.
If we don't get it, then tell us.
Well, Sean Combs, P. Diddy. His
He
name
said
is,
P. Diddy.
I know, but Sean Combs is his real name. His middle name is Paul. Okay. So, so Sean's total share and fair share. So to find out total share, you would do 300.
Wait, hold on. So you just delivered. He should get everything since he's one person.
Right, it's just a joke. Just Mr. Taft. It's hashtag math teacher jokes. Okay. So 300 plus 500 is his total share. So total share is what he thinks the total share is 800, and then fair share is 800 divided by 4 because there's 4 people. So 800 divided by 4 is what?
And where are you getting the fair share from?
So the fair share is 300 plus 500 divided by how many people there are.
Oh, okay.
So 200.
Yeah.
Now Paul's total share is 400 plus 450, which is 850,
850 divided by 2.
and then 850 divided by 4, not by 2.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
So 850 divided by 4 would be what?
212.5.
So 212.5. Diddy's total share, you would do 375 plus 525.
It would be 900, right?
So 900.
Divided by 4 is 225.
So 225 is his fair share. And then Combs' total share, 950 is his total. And then his
237.5.
237.5. So based on bids, who gets what? So there's only 2 items, right? So who gets the house?
That'd be Combs.
So Combs gets the ranch.
It is Diddy. It's,
No, Diddy should get the ranch.
Diddy
gets the ranch.
Oh, so Combs gets the house. Sorry, Combs gets the house.
Yeah.
I misspoke. And
Why
then
does Combs get the house?
He's the highest bidder.
he's the highest bidder, 475. And then who gets the ranch?
That'd be good.
Diddy gets the ranch. All right, so now let's talk about fair share. What does everybody need to pay into the pool? So, okay. Now, the only people who need to pay in are Combs and Diddy. The reason they need to pay in is because they got something that was worth way more than their fair share. So let's talk about how much Combs needs to pay in. So Combs got the house, which was worth $475. Combs' fair share was $237.5, right?
So 475 minus 237.
Minus $237.5. So to find out how much Combs needs to pay in, you would do $475 minus $237.5, and you would get back at, or 475 minus 237.5.
Oh yeah,
It's
there's
the
your
same.
one in your front, by the way.
Meh.
It is. Look. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's okay. No, that's right, Mr. I'm just, yeah, no, because it's right. So Combs needs.
Oh,
I'm just being stupid today.
That glare is awful.
It's Tuesday. Combs needs to pay in $237,050.
Wait, how'd you do this? Oh, Steve. You're such a dude.
And then Diddy, to find out how much Diddy needs to pay in, Diddy got something worth $525,000 and $300,000. Yeah, so Diddy needs to pay in $300,000.
Poor Diddy.
Wait, so when they bid on it, if they bid higher than what their share is, they have to pay that amount?
So we're going to talk about that on Thursday when we talk about dishonest bidding. Because if you bid dishonestly, you actually end up hurting yourself.
Do they know their amount?
They don't know anybody else's.
Do they know theirs?
Yes, they only know their own. Okay, so based on the fair share, what does everybody get out of the pool? So what should happen is everybody, so like you're putting in a total, like in the pool now, should be $537,050. Now, what we can put back out is what the other two needed, which is 200 and then 212. So then that's going to be less than this whole 537, right? So there's going to be money left over in the pool.
Then you have to divide it by all and
Right, and then they're going to get that much left over evenly. So let's talk about how much Sean gets out. So Sean gets his 200. Paul gets his 212.50. Combs gets the house. Diddy gets the ranch. And then let's find out how much like of a rebate everybody gets. So 537 minus, so 200 plus 212.50. Do you guys understand what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
So 212.50 plus 200 is this. If I do 537 minus 412.50, so 537.5 minus 412.50, I get 125
And then you have to divide that by everybody, right?
by 4. So everybody else gets 31.25. So plus 31.25 plus 31.25. So he also gets 31.25 back and 31.25 back.
It's not gonna help much.
But he had to, Combs had to pay out 237.50 and Diddy had to pay out 300.
It's rough.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I should have answered that on H for the final allocation, but
It's like your hair, Roger.
that's fine.
What's that?
Like your hair.
So all this stuff I put here on G, I should have put down there on H
Oh.
because I wasn't paying attention to where I was putting my answers. It's okay. I won't mark that wrong. Because I'm an imperfect person and I